Morning everyone. I'm going to start off with an apology because this lesson's going to be a little bit disjointed. My printer's not working, so I've got my laptop up here which I'm trying to read from and all sorts of various things. So if I look like I'm looking away, I'm trying to read from somewhere. And I'm going to start by reading. Today we're going to be looking at how writers and why writers use this figurative language in their work. And we had the shampoo mnemonic to help us with that gave us all the breakdown yesterday. Now, we're looking particularly at imagery today. All those different techniques form part of imagery. It's purely painting an image in your reader's mind. So you don't always need to tell people what's happening. It's a bit like the whole show and tell for emotions, but this is on a bigger scale. So I'm going to start by reading you just a short paragraph, and I'm going to give you a few seconds. I want you to see if you can work out what it's about. It doesn't tell you specifically, but I'm sure you will get the gist of it very quickly. So here we go. As nature's masterpieces fell gently from the cold grey sky, I pulled my jacket around my shoulders to keep warm. Reaching out with a gloved hand, the delicate jewels came to rest on my palm. There lay an array of unique patterns, no two of them the same, and there for only a few short seconds. Icy diamonds, a reminder of how beautiful winter can be. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. What's happening and how do you know? Okay, that was probably long enough because I would imagine you have all got a picture in your head of a child or a person outside, wrapped up warm, gloves on, hands out, catching those beautiful snowflakes as they fall to earth. Nowhere does it say that in the poem. But what the imagery does is it allows the audience to visualise a setting. Okay, icy diamonds, what a way to describe snowflakes. They are jewels. They are icy diamonds. Okay, so they use lots of different language in order to create this overall picture in your mind. So how does this link back to the poem that we were looking at yesterday, How to Die? Well, I'll read you the first paragraph. Sorry, it's not a paragraph, it's a poem. The first stanza or the first verse, I'll read you again. It's full of imagery. So I want you to have a little think about it. Think about how he's using imagery to describe the scene and set the mood. Okay, I'm only going with stanza 1. Dark clouds are smouldering into red while down the craters morning burns. The dying soldier shifts his head to watch the glory that returns. He lifts his finger towards the skies where holy brightness breaks in flame. Radiance reflected in his eyes and on his lips a whispered name. Okay, so what is happening? There's all sorts going on in there, isn't there? But he's not telling us anything. It's all created through this imagery. So let's just look at the first line. If you've got the poem in front of you, it will be better. If not, it is in today's work again when you get to it anyway. Dark clouds are smouldering into red. What's he actually saying? I'm sure he's not saying there are some dark clouds on fire in the sky. Yeah, I think it's a metaphor, isn't it? So it's one of these shampoo examples. So I think what he's actually saying is the sun's rising. Simple as that. Simple as that. But why has he chosen to create this image of dark clouds smouldering into red? It sets the scene. It gives you the tone. It gives you the feeling. Okay? So if we think about the language, dark clouds. Dark often means something not good, something bad, something ominous is going to happen. If we think about pathetic fallacy, where we include the weather in our writing, dark clouds are definitely an omen of something bad. And smouldering, the whole word choice that he's gone for there, smouldering suggests anger, hatred, bad feelings. So when you put that together in the whole phrase, dark clouds are smouldering into red, yes, it's saying the sun's rising, but it's giving you that whole feeling, the whole emotions. It makes you feel a little bit, maybe a little bit unsure of what's going to happen, a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a little bit depressed because it's not going to be something good that you think is coming up. Okay, so the word choices are very, very important in this. But then he does go on and he uses some that are absolutely the opposite. So when he talks about the soldier lifting his hand, he lifts his fingers towards the skies where holy brightness breaks in flame. Well, he is actually telling us that the soldier's lifting his hand up. But really, is there some holy brightness breaking into flame in the sky? I don't actually think there is. I'd imagine the sun is actually coming through the clouds. Simple, really simple, but how much more effective is where holy brightness breaks in flame. And it's a totally different feeling to the first line. So in this one, we're talking about holy brightness. We're talking about, he goes on and talks about radiance. This is all very positive feelings. Some might say religious feelings. Do we think that it's God, if that's what you believe in? Is he going to heaven? Is this the light at the end of the tunnel? It certainly hasn't got that dark undertone that the first one has. It gives hope that out of this death, something good is going to spring. Okay, so whether or not you believe in God and heaven, the whole choice of words and the radiance and the brightness is certainly a lot more upbeat and a lot more positive and hope-giving. So again, word choices are very, very important. Why does he whisper a name? Well, the whole poem is about how this soldier is sadly dying and that he's dying with dignity. He's not crying and screaming like some people might say. He's actually holding himself very well together and accepting his fate. He is just whispering the name, probably of a loved one. It could be his wife. It could be a family member. We don't know who. That's part of the mystique, the mystery of this. But he's whispering it. He's not screaming and shouting. So it's adding to the whole image of this dying with dignity, with pride. Okay? There's lots and lots of examples of imagery in this poem. And today, I'm wanting you to actually identify words and phrases that are used to paint those images in the reader's mind. And I want you to, for each one, I'm not going to look on that piece of paper, it's not on that one. For each one, I'm going to ask you to A, copy it very carefully, the exact words that the author uses, Sassoon, and I want you to explain what he is actually saying, but also how that affects the reader, okay, how it makes you feel. So in your work, I've put you an example, and it's the one I used from the first line, so it's very clearly has the words, the exact words that are used. It says that the sun's rising or morning's breaking or however you want to describe it. And then it refers back to the things we talked about, the darkness and the smouldering and the underlying current that puts through that image in your mind. Okay, you're going to have to put your thinking caps on. You're going to have to think a little bit outside the box, because you're not thinking about what he's written, you're thinking about what he's really meaning. So you need to try and get in his head a little bit as well. But you are familiar with the poem, so hopefully you've already got images in your mind of what it is telling you. Okay, and then I have put a little bit of a cheeky challenge on the end if you want to push yourself that little bit further. And I've just said, how many different words or phrases can you write down to describe how the soldier dies? Okay, does he die with dignity? Could you talk about his dying breath? How he's fearless? Okay, you don't have to do that, but if you want to give yourself a challenge, go for it. Maybe time yourself, see how many you can write down in 2 minutes. It's not a long task. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to you. I'm here if you need me. If you need any tips or advice, just don't ask me to print. It's not happening at the moment. And a question for you, which you can respond to me on Teams. What can you tell me about the rhyming of the poem? Have you spotted anything? Okay. Right, I'll leave you to it, and I'll be back later with your story. See you then. Bye.